Welcome to this introduction to Zed. Zed is an information management tool that will be used to help support and drive the performance of athletes as they chase Olympic glory in upcoming years. It's a cloud-based computer program that's been custom made for us. Now, the company that we have engaged with, Stay in Front, they are also working on similar projects with the New Zealand Rugby Union and New Zealand Cricket. So we've gained a lot through interaction with their expertise also. Our vision is to have all sports, all athletes and all staff interacting with Zed every day. The fundamental principle that we have followed while developing this system is that we want it to help manage the performance plans of athletes and allow coaches and support staff to make better decisions and faster decisions. Our timeline began in 2008, where we were internationally scoping partners and ideas, and we're now at the beginning of 2013 and are ready to drive a full implementation plan. We've always had strong support staff around our athletes. We have prided ourselves on having high-level staff in all these different roles, but we want to change from a model where they're all interacting with an athlete to one where they're all supporting an athlete in a collaborative manner. Zed is a tool that will help us accomplish this. There are 3 ways that we have our staff and coaches interact with Zed, and they are in order of importance. The first and most important one is around communications. Interacting with other members of the support staff, providing key pieces of information that will help them do their job. The second is around the case management of athletes, and so strategies within an individual performance plan will help improve performance, and the case management process will help keep these strategies on track. The third and final item is discipline-specific information. Now, in some cases, this information is vitally important on a day-to-day basis, such as that regarding injury management and treatment. In other cases, it's less important on a day-to-day basis, such as power information from a cycling training session or loads lifted in the gym. So with regard to communications, the principle is that we want staff, we want coaches, we want athletes to be thinking about what information that they can share to other members of the support team that will add value. Not every interaction with an athlete requires a communication, but things that are going to be useful for other people to know about will help. An example of this may be that an athlete is moving out of home. The life advisor may be the first person to have this discussion with an athlete, but they can provide a little communication to the rest of the support team that may help drive the actions of other members of the support staff. So, for example, the nutrition provider may contact that athlete proactively and offer some support around the change in circumstance. For example, they may be having to cook a lot more in their new environment than their previous environment. And so with regard to these communications, we want catchy headings, a brief bit of content, and if necessary an attached document, for example, that may provide more detailed information if people are interested. What's great about this communication process and workflow is that you can escalate the communication to an alert. And so what an alert does is it triggers an action. In this case, it's an email that will be sent to your address, and all the people in the support team will receive that email that will tell them and potentially reach them sooner than waiting for them to next log into Zed and see the communication in a normal manner. We are developing the ability to also include this option as a text message. And so really communications provides a transaction history, what's been happening with this athlete. Strategies are the fundamental building block of performance plans, and a strategy is a specific task that will be allocated to a particular person that has the outcome of improving performance of this athlete. So for example, a nutrition provider may have a specific strategy around decreasing body fat levels of an athlete. The obligations of our support team are that they go into the system, they open up the strategies that are relevant to them, and they add their specific action plans and measures. And so by that I mean, what are you going to do, and how do you want to evaluate whether the strategy is being successful or not? Once this is in play and the IPP is running, you'll be required to contribute progress reviews as the strategy is being worked on. So perhaps this will be once a month. You'll write a quick review to say, where is the strategy at? And you may also include in that what your next step may be. At the conclusion of a strategy, you'll write a summary as to whether the strategy was achieved or not, and potential information with regard to that will assist future strategies to be achieved. So it may be that a strategy was successful because of the interaction with another member of the support staff. It may be that the strategy was unsuccessful for various reasons, such as a lack of resource or difficulties finding time to complete something. So at the end of the day, we need to be able to strip down the process so that successful strategies are achieved more and more often. The security of information is something we treat very seriously, and we've got a number of layers of security around Zed. The first is that Zed operates on a Facebook style concept where, unless you are the friend of an athlete, in Zed speak this would be if you're in the support team, then you will not be able to see information with regard to that athlete. So this makes things quite secure. You may have 10 support team around an athlete, and they're the only ones that can see information for that person. There are also role-specific security rules around sensitive information such as that for psychology, physiotherapy, medicine, etc. There are extra security options available beyond this also, where a communication can be restricted to just a subset of the support staff. For example, only the coach, the doctor and the psychologist are visible for this particular communication. What it establishes is good lines of communication and role responsibilities. The outputs are the most important thing that Zed offers. We certainly don't want to create a system that simply has people putting information into it. We want the system to provide significant improvements to day-to-day activities through positive outputs. For example, some of the outputs that we are able to create for a particular provider or coach is that with a click of a button you can see all red flag strategies for your team. So you may have 20 athletes, each may have 5 to 10 strategies running at the same time, so that's somewhere around 150 strategies. You can click a button and see just those half a dozen strategies that are not on track at the moment, and that focuses your attention on what do I need to contribute to get these on track. The outputs are also cues. In this case, this bullet point reflects that you may log in and see that there are 4 athletes that require strategy reviews because there is a case management meeting next week, and those reviews allow all staff to get up to speed before a case management meeting and therefore improve the focus of that session. Simple cues such as the upcoming key dates and events, for example the close of a Prime Minister scholarship application process, a major sporting event, a fitness test, etc. And something that's very important for almost all support staff is to identify which athletes may be being treated for injury or recovering from injury at any given time. We've also added a number of modules to Zed which allow for an improved integration of various parts of our organisation. The first example is the strength and conditioning team. They have a module within Zed which allows them to write training programs and record training and testing information. The Prime Minister Scholarships process is a very big part of our operation and our support process with staff and athletes. This is now integrated within Zed, and therefore the Life team are able to interact with information for an athlete around their study. Physio tools and athlete monitoring tools are projects that we are underway with at the moment. It simply allows for us to pull in the physiotherapy information and start to track trends more easily and identify areas for performance improvement. The iPhone applications through BYOS are allowing athletes to record day-to-day information about their training and how they're feeling, and have that also feed into Zed. And so to look at Zed briefly, what we see here is an example of the strategy window. So we've got the title of a strategy at the top, we've got an action plan, we've got some measurements and targets that have got quantifiable information attached to them, and we've also got 2 reviews. So in the bottom pane of this window, you can see that there are reviews around how the strategy is progressing. And in conjunction with a review, there is a rating, and there also is some follow-up information. When you're in Zed, what you'll find is that down the left-hand side, there are a bunch of shortcut buttons that are custom made for each user. For example, a sport may have a set of custom shortcuts that provides examples of things such as which strategies are off track, which athletes are currently being treated for injury, and so on. From an organisational management perspective, we're also using Zed to help track our own performance. And staff and functional units are using a similar planning and performance monitoring process to athletes, i.e. they are having strategies and reviews and KPIs tracked through Zed. So thank you for listening. Zed is the tool of the future. It will be a big part of our operations moving forward, and it will provide value and support to athletes as they achieve Olympic success. If you have any questions about the operation of Zed, please feel free to contact me on the email shown below, or give me a call in the Auckland office. Thank you.